Hello and welcome to episode 5 of my lipstick rotation series. If you're new to this series, this is basically me rotating through all of my lipsticks in my collection and then showcasing them for you in the hopes that I'm going to rediscover some colors, possibly declutter a few, and in a way sort of like an improvised lip swatch collection video, because I would never be able to lip swatch all of my lipsticks for you within the span of a few days, so we would have to do it on the back of my hand, but I find this is so much better. So this series just works on many levels. We're now already at episode 5. I usually do segments of 10 lipsticks, so the fact that we're at episode 5 implies that I have at least 50 lipsticks, and I'm afraid that the truth is much uglier than that. I think I have more than 50 lipsticks, but we're going to find out as we go along. I don't think there are like super many lipsticks left to showcase anymore, but I do think we have enough for this episode and maybe one more episode. Anyway, to open up episode 5, we have another one of my H&M cream lipsticks. This one is in the shade Heyday. I have quite a few of these like H&M cream lipsticks. I even have a lip swatch video, and I've gone through a couple of those already in my previous episodes if you're curious. But today I did a look with the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I'm going to link that up in the cards for you. I've actually filmed a get ready with this look because I did a week of Natasha Denona on my channel some time ago. I absolutely adore the formula on these lipsticks. They're just creamy, comfortable, and a little bit plumping on the lips, and I have quite a few of them for that reason. The shade Heyday is, I think, one of the most special colors that I have within this lipstick line because it is a bit of a grungier brown nude. I really enjoy this color. It's not a color that I wear a lot because grungy brown lipsticks are not usually my vibe, but when the occasion calls for it, such as the Natasha Denona Gold look that I did today, I think it just fits perfectly. So today in this cutesy little packaging, I'm wearing the shade Beautiful Stranger from Pat McGrath. As you will notice, I have this in a mini because I bought a trio set with a couple of shades, and this was one of them. One of the shades was actually Flesh 3, which I eventually gifted to a friend. I gifted the mini to a friend and I bought myself the full size because I absolutely love Flesh 3. Flesh 3 is one of my probably top 3 favorite lipsticks of all time. There is another shade in this trio that is called Christy that is a little bit less my favorite. I think this one and Flesh 3 were really the stars for me in this trio. As you can see, I've gone pretty far with using this shade because I think it is a really beautiful, flattering, like nudie peachy pink. The shade Christy is a little too nude for my taste. This one just hits all of the accords when it comes to the specific shade of nude. I like my nudes to be a little bit deeper. Now I will point out the lipstick is in the matte trans formula, so by itself it is not this shiny, but I wanted to put a little bit of a gloss on top, so I am wearing the shade, I think this is Gold Allure. Yeah, this is Gold Allure, one of the last glosses, because I have a little bit of gold going on my lips and I really love using these as toppers. But on its own, this is a really lovely lipstick. It is a really comfortable lipstick, really beautiful shade, really flattering, I find, and I just really enjoy it. I think that if I were to ever go through this mini, I would actually consider buying a full size of this, but we're going to cross that bridge when we get there. I started this very naively, thinking that I'm going to remember everything that I've done, but I really don't remember. Let's hope I haven't done this one before. This is one of the many Flesh colors that I own from Pat McGrath. This specific shade is the shade Flesh 7 and it comes in the Divinyl formula. So the Divinyl formula come in this like thin, like rosy pink kind of packaging, and the specific formula that is housed in here is a very like high shine, balmy, but yet quite pigmented in terms of like color lip formula. I love all the Flesh shades from Pat McGrath. I think that she has never disappointed me with a Flesh shade, so the color is absolutely gorgeous and I do really like the formula. I really love how like high shine, glossy and plumping it looks on the lips. I started to inadvertently pit this formula against the Luxuriously Lucent from Lisa Eldridge though. And I will say this, I slightly prefer the Lisa Eldridge formula, and that is for one reason and one alone. Because these are higher shine formula, they are a little bit creamier, and for me, unfortunately, towards the end of the day, they tend to bleed. I have only 2 shades. I have this one and a red shade that you might already have seen. I think you've already seen Temptress in a different episode of the lipstick rotation. But that is the only reason that I slightly prefer the Luxuriously Lucent. And also the Luxuriously Lucent has the tendency to dry down a little bit and wear as a stain, whereas these like just sort of come off because they are so high shine and balmy. Other than that, I think this is a really beautiful formula if you like more hydrating shiny lipsticks, but you don't quite want to have a gloss. So you may or may not notice that there's going to be quite a lapse between the first few lipsticks that I have shown you and the ones following this one, because I completely dropped the ball on my lipstick rotation video, and then I realized that there was really no reason for me to stop doing this, because you were enjoying it, I was enjoying it, so let's just go on, I would say. Today we're going on with one of the most beautiful reds in my collection, and this is the shade McGrath Muse from Pat McGrath Labs. Now, McGrath Muse belongs to the long ago discontinued Lux Trans formula. It was actually one of my first Lux Trans lipsticks, I wanna say, because once I discovered what an incredibly comfortable, long-wearing and gorgeous formula that is, I really wanted to have a red in it, because, you know, when you're wearing a red, you want a solid formula that's going to stay on your lips, it's not going to move around, it's going to be comfortable to wear throughout the day, and McGrath Muse is all of that and so much more. Now, it is clearly a bit more on the warmer side, as you can tell, especially compared to something like Elson or Ribbon, and I have to say, lately I've really been drawn to like the classic reds, like Elson and Ribbon, and because I used to wear McGrath Muse on the regular before, I kind of like forgot about it in the past year or so, and now that I've put it on, I think, why on earth did I forget about this lipstick? It is so beautiful. So unfortunately you can't really find this color anymore, but hey, we're going through my lipstick collection, so I have to mention McGrath Muse because it is a gorgeous, gorgeous red. So as I'm filming this, this is currently the bougiest lipstick in my collection. It is also the newest addition to my lipstick collection. This is the shade, what is this called again? This is the number 10 Beige Croisette in the Brilliant finish from Hermes. So I've been curious about the Hermes lipsticks for quite a while, because I've always really admired their component. I think their component looks truly beautiful, and I have to say that in real life it actually looks more luxurious, more, you know, well made and more impressive than it even looks online, because it just feels like such a well-made, you know, luxurious piece of makeup. Just a little detail to add here before I forget, this is actually one of their limited edition lipsticks. Their regular line comes in somewhat different, still very luxurious looking, but somewhat different packaging. So the component of this specific lipstick is a limited edition one, and what I was very attracted to really is the combination of the colors, the little red detailing over here, and just the overall vintage look of the component. So I have to give it to Hermes that when you pay the hefty price tag for this lipstick and you're paying for you know, for quite a substantial amount for the packaging, you are really truly paying for something that is worth it and that really feels luxurious in the hand. Oftentimes you will buy a luxurious lipstick like, okay, this is much more this is true luxury, like even like Dior and Chanel lipsticks, they're very well made, they feel very hefty in the hand, but they're 20 euros less expensive compared to this, and they also feel 20 euros less expensive compared to this in terms of their packaging. So there's something truly special to be said about the Hermes packaging. But let's talk about the actual lipstick itself, because the lipstick itself is also truly impressive. I didn't really expect to be very wowed by the formula of this lipstick, nor the color. I went a little bit for the component and then for a color that would sort of kind of work for me. But I was so surprised to find out that I absolutely love the color. I zoomed you out a little bit so we can have a somewhat wider shot. I absolutely love the color because it is such a perfect peachy nude for me. It is not one of those peachy nudes that is too light and too concealer looking like. It's not one of those colors that makes the disgusting like white crusty line in the middle of my lips at the end of the day, because it doesn't have that much white pigment to it. It is perfect, and I actually really enjoy the formula. So this is a very interesting formula. It is not like any of my other, you know, shiny type lipsticks. It's not like the Divinus from Pat McGrath, because those are a lot more emollient. It's not like the Dior satin formula, which is much more lightweight on the lips. It's not like the Lisa Eldridge luxuriously lucent formula, although if I have to pick one that is the most like this formula, I would say it is the luxuriously lucent. Although the luxuriously lucent is not as shiny, I feel like this one is even more shiny and glossy on the lips, and it also wears differently than the luxuriously lucent. The luxuriously lucent sort of wears away as a stain, whereas when this one wears away, it just like kind of wears away. Something that this also does that the luxuriously lucent never does is towards the end of the day this starts to like travel a little bit outside of my lip lines. I have really awful lip lines. A lot with these like shinier type formulas and lip glosses are going to travel outside of my lip lines by the end of the day, which is why the Luxuriously Lucent is so impressive to me and remains my favorite shiny lipstick formula. But with that said, I love how this wears throughout the day, how comfortable it is, how well it reapplies on itself, and I have to say the amount of migration outside of my lip lines is rather minimal for such a shiny formula. So overall, I've been really impressed with this lipstick. Today I'm going for a very simple look with a very neutral lipstick that sort of like fades away gracefully and also can be reapplied very easily, because we're going to eat ramen, and you know you can't eat ramen with a bright red lipstick because that's going to all over your face. This is the shade Brunette Ambition from the H&M cream lipstick line. Now, I've found out the devastating news recently that the Urban Decay Vice lipstick line has been discontinued as we know it. So the lipstick that I'm showing you in this whole series, which are from their Comfort Matte cream, you know, line, they all do not exist anymore, which was such a bummer for me to find out. And again, I don't know if these exist still, the cream lipsticks from H&M, but if they do, I highly recommend checking them out because they are amazing. So the shade Brunette Ambition is what I would describe as my classic, you know, brown, slightly mauve leaning neutral. It's the kind of nude that is exactly my style. It's not too light, it's a little bit deeper in tone, and it's the kind of color that also sort of like goes with every kind of look. So if you're doubting what to do and you're not really sure and you have to pop something on your lips really quickly, Brunette Ambition is one of those shades that is like a no-brainer. You don't have to think about it too hard. And I've already used quite a bit of that lipstick up because if I'm not mistaken, this was one of the first lipsticks from that line that I bought. Luckily they're all still fine. So again, I don't know whether these exist in 2024, but if they do, I highly recommend checking them out because they're inexpensive, they come in beautiful colors, and specifically their cream lipstick formula is incredibly impressive to me. So this is Velvet Bloom, which is one of my newer Lisa Eldridge velvet lipsticks. This was a one-off, like a limited edition release for the summer of 2023. We didn't really get a huge summer collection from Lisa. In fact, we didn't really get any like big collections from her last year. I think she's had some delays with her products. But anyway, she released this lipstick, I think, I want to say around June or July of 2023. And as soon as she said that it's some sort of a red, I didn't even have to think twice. I love Lisa Eldridge reds so much that when she says she's releasing something that is new and unique, I'm like, yes, please, sign me up. And I was not disappointed when I received this color. It is a beautiful shade of red. As you can see, it is also not a classic red. It is a very muted rosy red is what I would describe it as. It is a muted rosy red which has warm tones and it has cool tones, but it's not really either one of the two really. It's a very beautiful shade, and like I said, because it has a little bit of a mutedness to it, I think this kind of shade is meant for people who are afraid of like a classic bright blue-based red lipstick. This has a like subtlety and femininity to the tone and is just such a beautiful lipstick. I hadn't actually worn it in a while, so I was going like in my head through my lipstick collection trying to think of the shades that I haven't demoed for this video yet, and then I thought of Velvet Bloom and I got really excited. Let me tell you, I always get really excited when I'm going to wear a beautiful Lisa Eldridge red. I mean, I'm always really excited when I wear Lisa Eldridge lipsticks, but especially her reds always like give me such a jolt of joy when I wear them. Okay, I know this is my lipstick rotation series and I'm probably not supposed to be showing you something that I'm literally wearing for the first time, but it's a part of my lipstick collection and I thought I would show it to you because as of today, what day is it today? The 20th of February 2024. This is the newest lipstick in my collection. It's ironic because in a few hours it will not anymore be the newest lipstick in my collection, but that's besides the point. So this is one of my newest bougie lipstick escapades. 2024 is going to be the year that I discovered bougie lipsticks, okay? I've really been into lipstick ever since the beginning of this year. I've been wearing a lot of like brown eyeshadow because I want to wear all of my like bright reds and like just bright colors. So I've just really been into lipstick. Anyway, again, besides the point. So this lipstick is very recognizable, I think, already from the outer packaging. This is one of the lipsticks from Dries van Noten. Dries van Noten, if you didn't know, is a Belgian designer who is a man, and I'm emphasizing that because up till yesterday when I received the lipstick and I was trying to assemble it and I was watching someone's YouTube video, I did not realize that Dries van Noten is not a woman, okay? I thought this whole time that it was a woman. Never mind. So the Dries van Noten lipsticks, if you didn't know that, they're like on the they are at the price range of Hermes lipsticks, because what happens is that you have to buy the lipstick itself, so the component for the lipstick, separate from the actual component of the lipstick. Like with Hermes lipsticks, I don't think you can buy the packaging separately. You have to buy the whole thing together and then you can assemble it and you can swap around. But you can't really buy the packaging separately. Here you can buy the packaging separately, which again, if you don't really have the component to insert in it, is useless. But I bought the, I think this is the neon print it is called. I still have the box in which it came. This is called the neon print, and basically the reason I chose for this is because of the lime green part of this component. I am not super much into like animal prints, so I don't really care for this. Although I think this is more on the subtle side of animal print, so I don't mind too much. But really it is the lime green part of the component that I absolutely fell in love with, because where have you ever seen a lime green component on a lipstick before? So this is a very luxury lipstick. There is quite a bit of heft to it. I will reserve all of my thoughts on the packaging and ultimately reviewing the formula for a separate video. But today we're just talking about the color that I purchased, which is the shade Crafted Red. And I chose for their matte formula because I was very intrigued by specifically their matte formula, since some of you have mentioned that this is even superior to like Lisa Eldridge and Pat McGrath matte trans lipsticks. So I was just very curious how much more comfortable and long wearing and non-drying these are compared to those other two formulas, which happen to be my current like matte lipstick favorites. Can't tell you that, can't give you thoughts on that, because I literally put on the lipstick 10 minutes ago, but at least we can talk about the color. Now, when I purchased this color, I sort of thought this would be a classic red, very much in the lines of something like Lisa Eldridge ribbon, but it's actually not at all like ribbon. Like, even if you compare the bullets of the lipsticks, you can immediately see this one is actually pulling much warmer compared to ribbon. There's much more blue in ribbon than there is in Crafted Red. And same goes for Pat McGrath Labs Elson, which is also deeper and again more blue leaning. I couldn't really think of a lipstick that is completely similar to this shade, so I've pulled out McGrath Muse, which I also demoed in this video, because I think they're maybe a little bit more similar, but there is still a bit more pink in here. So I think the closest lipstick that I could think of that is similar to Crafted Red is actually Strawberry Shock from Lisa Eldridge. So this is one of her insanely saturated colors. To me, Strawberry Shock is like a less saturated version of this lipstick. The color is not the same because I think one is a little bit just less saturated. So this is Lisa Eldridge Strawberry Shock, but I do think they're very, very close cousins. They're definitely in the same family. Let me see where I'm going to put. And I'm going to put the Dries Noten color right here. Do you see how the tones are very similar? And the one from Lisa Eldridge is just slightly less saturated with red pigment. So if you were wondering what is a similar color to Crafted Red from Dries Noten, it is, in my opinion, the insanely saturated in Strawberry Shock from Lisa Eldridge. And again, on the lips, I do get the same vibes from this. There is like a slight neon quality, just like with Strawberry Shock, but it is not as neon because there is less white pigment in here. I think the balance in Strawberry Shock is more in favor of the white pigment, whereas here it's more in favor of the red pigment. But they are quite similar in tone. So this is a beautiful red lipstick. I'm very curious how it's going to wear throughout the day, and specifically whether it's going to be more comfortable compared to the matte trans and the velvets from Lisa Eldridge. So I'll come back and tell you that in a different video, but I think I've already rambled more than enough about that one lipstick today. This whole thing, showing you a completely new lipstick in this lipstick rotation video, is going to be an exception rather than a rule, because I do prefer to have worn the lipstick a bit so that when I demo it in this type of video, I have a little bit more thoughts on it. But I was just so incredibly impatient to try this lipstick on, and I really want to finish another episode of the lipstick rotation this week, so I thought I'm just going to combine the two for that one exclusive time. So today we're talking about Muse from Lisa Eldridge. This is one of her velvets, and this happens to be the nudist velvet that I have in my collection from her. I don't hesitate, like I don't blink twice when I purchase one of her brighter colors. I never really doubted that they're going to look great, but I always have I'm always in such self-doubt whenever I'm buying a nude lipstick, even if it is from Lisa Eldridge, because I'm always afraid they're going to be too light or the wrong tone and I'm going to regret purchasing them. Now, I'm happy to say that Muse, that is not the case for Muse. Muse is actually a perfect nude for me. It's still very much in the nude family, but it is not too light. It doesn't have weird tones to it. It has a little bit of pink, but also a little bit of warmth. So it's like a very well-balanced nude shade, and I've actually quite been enjoying it. I purchased this over the summer. Like I said, it's one of my newest velvets in my collection, and I've really been enjoying it as like my go-to nude shade. Also, just in case this is the only video that you're going to see from me and you were curious about an update on the Dries van Noten lipstick that I was wearing yesterday, we're talking about this gorgeous beauty right over here. So I didn't really mention anything about the formula because I really wanted to experience the formula throughout the day in order to give feedback. But what I can say about this formula is it behaved beautifully throughout the day. It lasted very well on my lips. It didn't dry out my lips a lot, if at all. And I was very happy with the color because it is a beautiful, like very brightening red without being a classic red or a warm toned red. It is a very interesting tone of red. But in terms of the formula, and I will have to like use it a few more times to really be able to compare, but from what I experienced yesterday, this very much behaved like a matte trance from Pat McGrath Labs for me, like the comfortable matte trance. I have a couple of her matte trance which are a little bit less comfortable, but if we're talking about one of Pat's very comfortable matte trance, this behaved like that. It applied in the exact same way, like it had that same like sleepy silicone feel when it glided on the lips, and then throughout the day it settled to a more matte finish, but it didn't feel overly drying on the lips, nor did it feel overly hydrating. It just like hung out, and it was very easy to reapply. It wore off a little bit around the center of my mouth when I had coffee and after lunch, so I only had to reapply it once, which is exactly what I do also with my Lisa Eldridge and Pat McGrath lipsticks. The only thing is I've heard from some of you that these feel less drying to you compared to the Pat McGrath matte trance formula. So far I didn't experience that, but I would like to, you know, wear them back to back a few times to really make up my mind. But just in case you were curious, the actual lipstick performed really well throughout the day. It wore very comfortably, and I think it is one of the most comfortable matte lipsticks that I have ever tried. So there's that. Okay, last lipstick for this episode. Not last lipstick for this series, just for this episode. I'm ridiculous and we're just a bit over halfway through, so there are still 3 to 4 more episodes coming. But we're ending on a very high note here with one of my absolute favorite lipsticks, not just in this episode, not just within my Pat McGrath Labs collection, but overall. And this is the shade Flesh 3 from Pat McGrath Labs. It is one of her matte trance lipsticks. There are 2 reasons we're ending with this particular lipstick today. One, like I said, one of my favorites, and also one of the last opportunities I will have to wear this color because spring is coming and this is a lipstick I prefer in the fall and winter. But Flesh 3 is one of the first matte trance lipsticks that I ever had because I purchased a little trio a couple of years ago, and Flesh 3 was one of the colors. And I was almost done with the trio and I decided that I absolutely have to own the full size, and at the time the full size even came in this beautiful limited edition packaging, so I absolutely had to have it. And I think maybe you can tell even from the use on the bullet how much I have loved this lipstick. Favorite color, I absolutely love it. It is a deep brown nude with a hint of purple to it, and I highly recommend if you have the NARS Climax palette, it just goes perfectly with that palette. It is in fact the palette that I have on my eyes today. The second reason I wanted to wear this lipstick is that I want to compare the formula of the matte trance from Pat McGrath with the matte formula from Dries van Noten, because to me so far they felt very similar. But Flesh 3, one of my absolute favorite nudes. If you're ever looking for like a deeper flattering nude, I highly recommend checking out the Flesh line, but Flesh 3 in particular is an absolute majestic queen. So with this I'm going to wrap up this episode of the lipstick rotation series. I really hope that you're still enjoying this series. I didn't really know how this would be received when I first started doing these videos, and then I had the feeling that people quite enjoyed this series, and then I kind of dropped the ball on this in the spring last year, and then now I picked it up again almost a year later, so I don't know whether a year later you're still interested in this series, but I guess we're going to find out. And you know, you can always let me know in the comments if you would like me to continue with the rest of my lipstick collection. Now I have to run to work. Let me know what you thought about the lipsticks that you saw in this particular episode. Which ones were your top 3 or your favorite on me? I would love to know. Do you have any of them? What do you think about them? Let's chat lipstick. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!